Well. I'm thinking about this Bitcoin cycle thing. I don't know if you are aware of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, where the price of Bitcoin drops 1 year and then it goes higher and higher for about 3 years. So the main purpose I'm thinking of making this is to maybe help me and some friends. Yeah, say in case things go as they should. So I'll start by looking at the monthly Bitcoin chart. It looks quite dirty. I've been doing a lot of analysis, checking it, just trying to see what is happening and what might happen in future. But from the look of things, it's very evident that Bitcoin goes up and down after a certain duration of time. Now, the kind of charts we have provided here they start from around 2015. So we don't have much data. Also, the candles before 2017, they are not quite clear. You can't get much data from them. But the cycle started in 2009. Only that the data we have here, the clearest data we have here starts from around 2017. So we could work with that. So my screen is quite small. I'm currently using my phone. But what I want to show is that Bitcoin follows this kind of a cycle where it's going up for a specific time, like you see, it hits a top, then it comes down, it rallies, goes up for quite some time, then drops, makes a bottom, then goes again to make a top, and currently it's coming down, trying to make a bottom before it rallies again for another 3 years, I guess around 3 years, until around 2029, towards the end of 2029, where it could make it stop. Yeah, it's that simple. It's the Bitcoin 4-year cycle. There's a lot of other things that take place, like the halving. Yeah, there's also the Bitcoin halving that happens every 4 years. That makes the full cycle complete. So, could we use this to predict the next bottom and the next maybe top thereafter? Maybe we could, because this is something that has been happening. And as you can see, Bitcoin is behaving very differently compared to other assets. For example, forex pairs like GBP/USD. You see, other assets have no clear pattern that you can talk of, because they seem to be affected and driven by a whole lot of things. Also other things like the indices, like the S&P 500, they are going up since the day they launched, but we really don't have quite a clear timeline of the tops and the bottoms compared to what Bitcoin is offering us. So I'll be checking another well-marked chart to help us see what might be happening or where we are in this cycle. Yeah, so we're gonna look at this other chart. It's also quite messy because I've been engaging a lot with it recently since the beginning of the year. And the timelines you can see highlighted here, the ratings that are saying 12 bars, 17 bars, all these are dates that I'm trying to check how long it takes to move from one bottom to the top, from top to bottom, from bottom to top. Just trying to see if I can get a slight idea of where we might be headed. And to begin with is the first halving date that we have here was around July. I really can't remember the date, but when we look at the daily chart, we can see the exact date, but it was in, I think, July in 2016. And we can see that from the halving day to the bottom of this cycle, it took 365 days. And from the halving to the top of this cycle, it took around 518 days. Okay. Okay, let's see another one. The other halving was in around April or May of 2020. When we look at the daily chart, we're gonna see the exact dates. And from the halving date to the top of this cycle, it took around 914 days. No. I think I'm confusing this because I've marked so many of them. I really can't tell which is telling about what dates. Yeah. Okay. I can clearly see them now. So from the halving date of May 2020 up to the high, we took around 549 days. And in this previous cycle, we had taken 518 from halving to top. Halving to top 518, 549. And now the next halving that we had is a date that was around April of 2024. Up to the top, that was October 2025, it was 548 days. So halving to top seems to be taking 548, 549, and 518. So 500 to 550 days from halving to top. Okay, now let's see from halving to bottom. That's what we are looking. From the very first time we had a halving, that is as per the charts we have provided here, is that the halving was on July of 2016, and from halving to bottom we took 883 days. As you can see here, 883 days halving to bottom. The next one, halving to bottom, took 914 days. Yeah, we currently have the two datas, the 914 and 883. So 880 to 915 days. If we use that to predict the next cycle, the next bottom from the previous halving that was in April of 2024, then we could be getting a bottom around October of 2026. Okay, the other math that we are going to use is from top to bottom of the cycle. So from the top of the 2017 cycle to the bottom, it took 365 days. Again, from the top of 2021 to the bottom, that is December 2022, again it took around 365 days. And if we could get a similar estimation from the previous top that we had October 2025, that was October 6, then we will again, it is going to predict to give us a date that ranges in October of 2026. So do you think this cycle can be trusted? Do you think it works? Yeah. What is your idea about this one? Because Bitcoin runs on a clock. A well set timeline. There is the halving date that is known, and that halving date can help you know the next top and the next bottom. That's why you can see the chart is very clean. It's very clean compared to other assets like Forex indices. You see, we are clearly going up. We are clearly going down, clearly going up, clearly going down, clearly going up, and clearly with no doubt, 2026 we are going down. Only that we don't know about the exact price or the exact bottom. But the chart is very clean. There's no other asset in this world that have such a clean chart. Yeah, most of them have very wide consolidations, some sudden drops, sudden rises. You can't tell the timeline or whatever that is going to make it fall or rise. But at least this one, I think we can have something to hang on. Do you think this cycle really works? Apart from this, we can also use what is called we have the Fibonacci tool that can help us now have a slight idea of how down or how deep the drop will be, the bear cycles are. We can look at that as well and try to see, but as of now, do you think the bottom is in, or do you think that the bottom is not yet in? Do you think that the cycle is still working or the cycle is not working?